Hey mini enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back, hope you're well and I hope you're having a great day. So, bit of a surprise today. I had a package arrive in the post and the usual thing, the wife's gone, what have you ordered now? And I'm like, it's one of those moments where I can't actually remember ordering anything and you think, oh God, what did I order when I was drunk the other night? Anyway, I opened it up and it was a nice little surprise. So, if you don't know, if you've been watching the videos, etc, I fitted the boot kit from Stitched Up Interiors in Project Sprout, and we've done a bit of a giveaway to give away the boot kit. And the one thing I said while doing it, I said it'd be really nice if Stitched Up Interiors done some little inserts, because they do a nice boot board for the back of the boot itself, and they do some really nice storage solutions as well which fit onto that. But my boot on Sprout, lovely spray job on it by Mark, it looks really nice, and I actually like the fact that you can see the frame of the boot, similar to sort of you can on the doors. You know, it adds a little bit to the classic car period sort of style, I think. So I actually like the frame of the boot exposed. So at the time, Pete didn't do these, but these are inserts to go between the frame, and I think they just tidy up the boot really nicely. So it looks to me, it's just stuck on with a bit of Velcro. Again, very nicely made from Pete at Stitched Up. Fitting it, I'm sure it's going to be no problem at all, but I reckon it's just going to lift that boot up even better than it is at the moment, which is hard because it looks fantastic. So then you get these fitted on and we'll see what it looks like. But I've got to say a big thank you to Pete, because I've not paid for these. I wasn't expecting these. It was only a suggestion in one of the comments, so I guess it's a bit of a gift. So thank you very much, Pete and Stitched Up Interiors. I really do appreciate it, and just get it fitted on the car and see what it looks like. So there we are, I'm pleased with them. I'm glad Pete has started doing them, because I really like them. I think they look great. Yeah, just once again, thanks Pete from Stitched Up Interiors for doing that. I think it looks really good, and the whole boot kit itself is just a really nice kit. So if you like what you see, please do go and check out Pete's website, Stitched Up Interiors. I will stick a link in the description and you can see what Pete has to offer. He does all sorts of custom boot kits and other interior parts as well, and not just for minis. But yeah, really pleased. I shall have a picnic basket which goes in here as well. The picnic basket generally doesn't carry picnic stuff. It's just got car cleaning gear in usually, but it just looks a lot nicer when you open up the back rather than a wash bucket with car cleaning gear in. Like I said, I'm really pleased with that. I've had that in there for a few days now. I did just think I'd report back though, so you might have seen in the video earlier, it was sticking up a little bit in the corner. So what I actually done was just had to bend it down slightly, get it to fit that profile nicely, and it's lovely and neat now. The only thing I'd say, maybe just a hint, Peter, is when I had it shut originally, I come back a couple of times and these had come off and the Velcro had come unstuck from the metal. So there's only small patches of Velcro on here. Maybe it could do with some more, maybe a little bit across the top here as well. But either way, it's in there now. I love the look of it, and if I have to apply a little bit more Velcro on there or fix it a little bit more permanently, I don't mind, because I'm really pleased with the way that looks. So I might have mentioned before, Minis are the gift that just keep on giving, because they always want something doing on them. If you want a car to keep you busy, a Mini is the one. And sometimes it's big bits, sometimes it's little bits. I mean, I now have 3 Minis, so can you see the chrome strip around the window here? I don't know how well you can see that, but it should be sort of smooth chrome, but it's all gone crinkled. Now these seals were from Mini Spares, but I've seen people have the same problem with ones from Mini Sport. My front one's okay, but the back one has definitely, it's just all crimpled up. Now, one of the viewers of the channel, apologies, I'm poor with names again, Graham, I'm pretty sure it's Graham. Graham has restored a mainstream Cooper in British Racing Green, bare shell. I say bare shell restoration, I think it was a brand new shell for it, heritage shell. It looks absolutely amazing. He's putting it all together, and he had the same problem with his, and he contacted, I think he contacted Mini Sport, and they found the issue. It's just in the cost you pay for things. This seal is really, really cheap. So he contacted them, and they said, look, you know, we can do a better one, but it's a lot more money. And they have started doing that now. So they do like an OE quality version of this filler strip in here. It's about 16 quid, I think, but it won't go like this one. And what I noticed with the cheap ones as well, a couple of years out in the sun, they all just turn bright yellow. Right, let me just show you something else on the car. A bit of a yeah, I'm not pleased about this. I'm not pleased at all. I'm really unhappy about it, but that is life. That's life owning a Mini. So, Sprout was restored. I guess it's knocking on for 18 months ago now. It's probably only 14 months since it was painted. I've not done a great deal to it since. I've just cleaned up a few little bits. I'm really, really pleased with that. It's a lovely car. It drives really, really nicely. I'm genuinely really happy about it. It's a car that I originally bought with the intention of restoring and selling, but I just like it so much I don't want to sell it now. It's become part of the family. What's really, really gutting though, so you know, I like to be honest on these videos and show you it warts and all, and sometimes it's easy just to only talk about the positive and good things, but what's really disappointing, I'm really gutted here. So this wasn't stripped back to a bare shell, but we went back to primer. It went back to bare in some of the places. There were some rust issues that were addressed. It had a complete new front end on it. Pretty much all the rust that was on there was cut out and new bits welded in, or complete new panels. If you'd have remembered the door skin on the other side, I reskinned. I didn't reskin this door, and I didn't reskin this door because it had a tiny little spider's leg mark down in that bottom corner, and a tiny little bit down in this bottom corner down there, and there was barely anything there. I rubbed it back to bare metal. I cure rusted it. It was then etch primed, it was primed, it was epoxy primed, all of that stuff, and then painted. And a year later, now this car had barely got wet. A year later, and unfortunately, sorry, my screen's gone off. A year later, and unfortunately, as you can see, I've got rust bubbles coming through, which I'm just gutted, absolutely gutted about. Finger marks on there. It's in this bottom corner here, and it's at the front here. Don't know whether you can see that. You can now, I'm sure. And that is 10 times worse than it was before. It wasn't that bad. So I was scratching my head thinking, why has it done it? But I think chatting to Chris last week, and we were talking about it, and you can see down the bottom here, there's a big overlap here where there's basically two panels. So you've got the inner door skin and the outer door skin is on here, and there's a good 1.5 inches there where the panels are just they must be like butting up, touching each other, and you get the same at the front of the door, a bit dark in there. So this area down the bottom here, even though this was all cleaned off, it was all waxed inside, the wax cannot get into these bottom corners because it's like 2 panels thick and they're probably touching each other. So yeah, it's a bit gutting. It's going to give me a job for the winter to do, so I shall reskin that door. The only other bit I've got is, again, one of the panels that wasn't replaced was a bonnet, and the bonnet again had a tiny little bit of speckle of rust where something had been dropped on it, and again it's not that's more, they're just like micro blisters. So I'm definitely going to, over the winter, I'm going to put a new skin on that door. I might put a new bonnet on it as well, because this car is almost perfect, and I want to keep it that way. The only thing that I'm just gutted about, which really worries me, I'm not worried about putting a door skin on. That is absolutely fine. I'm not worried about putting a bonnet on. They're not difficult jobs. It's going to be matching the colour. Now, I think that's going to be difficult to do, and I'm in two minds yet whether I just bite the bullet and pay for it to go into a body shop to be done, because they have machines or tools that can actually, rather than going off the paint code, they can go off the actual colour that's on the car and try and match it, or whether maybe it's something that I can ask Mark to do, or even do it myself when Mark's sort of doing the Cooper S when it's ready for paint. I don't know, but I am genuinely pretty gutted about it, because it is such a fantastic car. But like I say, I like sharing it warts and all on this channel sometimes, and it's gutting. It's sat in this garage. This garage has a dehumidifier in here. It's never that humid. I've washed it a couple of times, but not that much. It's certainly never been left out in the rain. It's never seen salt air or anything like that. But it's just a Mini at the end of the day. I found that with Vinny, it would sit in the garage and certain areas would go rusty. Wasn't anything you could do about it. Unfortunately, like there, the reason for that is just a trap for water at the bottom. So, you know, as good as these seals are in and out, you still get some water go inside the door, and that's why you have the door plastic laminate inside, to stop that water then getting inside the car. So you get water will go past these seals, it will run down the inside of the door. You'll also get condensation where you've brought it in from the outside, and maybe it's cold outside, and you bring it inside when it's warm. So you get a temperature difference between the outside of the panel and the inside of the panel. That causes condensation to form. Might only be a small amount, but you get a bit of condensation form on the inside of the panel. You'll then get a drip of water, or a couple of drips, which will go through down. And if they're in the middle here, there are drain holes down at the bottom there, but obviously if you get a drip of water down there, it is just going to sit between those two panels, and there's no way of drying it out, so it will just sit there and corrode. So even, you know, the steps I take to try and make sure that it, you know, doesn't get wet when I take it out, I dry it off. Even just moving from a cold environment to a warm environment will create condensation on the inside of the panels, which drips down, and then anywhere, especially where you've got two bits of metal joined together or touching each other together, that is an area where you're going to get corrosion. And unfortunately, there's quite a few areas like that on the Mini. So, yeah, it is what it is. sorry for waffling on. I hope you enjoyed this week's video.